Welcome to the overview of operating the 2021 Pak'nSave Triathlon Festival within the current Covid-19 guidelines. Ultimately, these guidelines are in place to keep everybody safe, the participants, the support crew, everyone on site. So please play your part. First one is if you are sick or have any symptoms, please stay at home and contact the Ministry of Health or call the Healthline 0800 358 5453 about getting a test. Everyone attending the event will need to scan in using the COVID-19 Tracer QR code. If you don't have that app on your phone, there will be a manual sign-in by approaching the Triathlon Club tent. You'll also need to sign in when you go to registration. The QR codes will all be prominently displayed as you approach the race site, also around the race site and also in the parking area. Registration will be held at the Waltham swimming pool in the Tri-Club club rooms. When you enter the main lobby, you'll turn right to go into the club rooms. Please make sure you're wearing a mask at all times, also that you are socially distancing at 1 metre. It is fine for athletes to collect race numbers and bib numbers for friends, family and so on. That will help us to minimise the number of people on site. When it comes to race day, it's really important that everybody follows our fairly strict schedule. That will ensure we can have other events throughout the summertime and also risk the chance of any spread of COVID-19 within the community. There will be no race briefing on race day. There is a video and also a written race manual that you can read through to find out all the details. Any final safety warnings will be made when you are approaching the start line. In terms of spectators, we're requesting that spectators do not come to the event, the only exception to this being for parents of children who need to escort them to the race site. We do ask that you keep your distance at the race site, mask up, and we just don't want anybody gathering in crowds. The government advice is for anybody attending the event to wear a mask or face covering. However, obviously this can be removed to eat and drink or when you are actually participating in the event. At all times during the event, please try to physically distance yourself from others. We'll be setting up the transition area that will enable this to happen, so do your best at all times to maintain physical distancing. Okay, the first part of the day is when you arrive on site and you're doing your parking. As you can see in this map here, there will be different parking zones depending on your event. Please stay in your car until you've been given your designated time to proceed to transition, allowing around about 5 to 10 minutes to walk down to the transition area. When you leave your car, you need to put your helmet on so then the officials can clearly see which event you are doing and to ensure you do not arrive earlier than you are supposed to. Please approach the transition area and the race site with caution, especially if you're in one of the later events and the racing is already underway, so please make sure you stay out of the way of athletes that are already racing. Here you can see the reporting times for both entering transition, reporting to the swim start, and then the actual start times. So just go through, find your event. For example, the classic try, you need to wait in the car parking area until just before 7 o'clock. Then you can walk over to your transition area, report in between 7 and 7:15. You need to stay in your transition area until 7:55 when you'll be called into the water. You'll have 10 minutes to warm up in the water before your race starts at 8:05. For all parents of children racing in the kids triathlon, please do not report to the Lake Roto-Kahatu site until after 9:45. The reason for that is the roads will be remaining closed until around 9:45, and we will also have all the other adult athletes and juniors and so on leaving the race site at that time, so it will create quite a big bottleneck. So please arrive closer to 10 o'clock. We will make sure that we wait for everybody before we commence any briefing for the children or in fact their race start. So kids, parents, please arrive around about 10 o'clock or just a couple of minutes before. So please do not report to the transition area before your designated time, and we do absolutely understand that you'll want to try to do a warm-up, but in this particular event it's not really possible. We're going to try to make the transition areas of each zone big enough so you can do some form of warm-up. The other key thing to note is you have toilets for each zone. You can only use the toilets in your particular zone, even if the other ones are vacant. So just repeating that, each zone has their own toilets. You must only use those toilets in your particular zone. A few in-race guidelines: absolutely no spitting or clearing of your nose is allowed during the event for obvious reasons. There's not going to be any aid stations, so you need to carry your own fluids on the bike and ideally have a drink before you head off on the run leg. And we do ask that you try to socially distance as best as practical during the event. Once you've finished your race, please proceed directly to your particular transition zone. There'll be a box en route where you can place your timing transponder. The officials won't be doing that for you. You need to do it yourself. And please be very mindful of athletes coming and going from their bike and run legs. So collect your bike from transition and then return to your car. Be very careful when you're exiting the race site because there will be athletes still out doing their laps on both the bike and the run. We will require that you need to stay in your car parking zone until 9:45 AM or earlier if directed by marshals, at which time the roads will reopen and you can leave the race site. So with this particular event, it's basically turning up, staying in your car till you're allowed to report, come over to the race site, stay in your transition area, head to the start line when directed to do so, do your event, finish, and then leave the race site. Wait in the car park until the time is given that you can leave, and then you need to leave the race. So we won't be doing any prize giving for this particular event. Again, we're trying to minimize any gathering of groups, so there will be no prize giving, but there will be medals available for collection for anybody in the top 3 in their category in each event. So that's about it really. We do understand that many of you may find some of these procedures and requirements a little bit cumbersome, but you need to adhere to them to be part of this event and to ensure we have events going forward into the future. We're very fortunate that we have events when most others around the country have been cancelled. So please do your part, have a great day, get out there, race hard, and then put your feet up for the rest of the afternoon.